Hey guys, Will here, welcome back to the channel and Happy New Year if you're watching this at the time of posting. So today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the Elgato Stream Deck. Now, if you've been watching the channel recently, you would have noticed that I've started to get into a little bit of Twitch streaming of my sim racing, things like that. And I discovered very quickly that trying to change between scenes and switching on and off audio channels and things like that are very, very difficult using keyboard shortcuts while you're trying to drive or while you're sort of in a sim rig and you've got a keyboard and you're trying to hit shortcuts. It just becomes a mess very, very quickly. So I was looking around online for products that would help me to sort of make this easier, and I came across the Stream Deck. Now, this is a product that has actually been on my radar for a little while. I actually looked at buying one of these a couple of months ago as a button box for sim racing, but I kind of thought, you know, at the price point that it is, it's a little bit overkill for that kind of thing, and I wasn't sure whether the tactile feedback of the buttons would be good enough for sim racing. You can't really see what you're pressing when you're driving, so you sort of need to have something that you can feel. So I steered away from it at that point. But what it does look perfect for is basically as a mixing desk for streaming. So what we're going to be doing in this video is getting it all set up, showing you how we set it up for streaming with Streamlabs OBS. Now, obviously, there's a bunch of additional stuff that you can do over the top of this, but this is going to give you the basic idea of how to set it up. And then, of course, I'll give you my overall impressions of the product once I've had a couple of days of usage with it as well. So stick around, we'll get stuck into it. So first you'll need to jump on the Elgato website, click on Stream Deck, click on Software. There's a couple of different titles that are available here, but we want Stream Deck for Windows, so click on the download link for that. Let it download fully. Click on the installer, follow through the prompts, and you're good to go. Okay, so to give you an idea of how I've got all this set up, I just want to quickly run you through my default profile here, and then what I'll do is I'll go back and I'll actually show you how I set it all up from scratch. So to begin with, I've got a bunch of icons here which launch various applications. So I've got my Streamlabs OBS launcher icon here, Discord, SimHub, and my F1 2018. I'm going to add a bunch of other games and stuff later on as well, and other applications that I use regularly. And then down here, I've got my little button here for controls. So we click on the control button, and you'll see the screen on the Stream Deck as well as the screen here changes. And these are all the buttons that I have to perform various different functions within Streamlabs OBS. So what I'll do now is I'll run you through quickly and show you how I set it all up, and then we'll show you how it all works at the end. We'll switch to a completely blank profile, so it's exactly as it would be if you just unbox the product, and I'll show you how I set all this stuff up from scratch. So when you first unbox, you'll get a screen like this with just the welcome button here. So what we can do is we can right click on that and delete that card there from there, so we don't need to ask again because we want to do the same thing every time. So we delete that, and then what we're going to do to begin with is we're going to set up our icons to actually launch various different applications. So this is very simple. All we need to do is go to our system panel here and then open, drag that function up to here, and then all we need to do is just point it to the executable that we want it to open. So we would go C drive, program files, Streamlabs, and then find the executable. There it is there. Open. And then we can choose whether we want to have a title or not. Because I'm actually using the icon for the application, I don't need to. Now, the way we do the icon, you see here it actually detected it on its own. And that's because I have a folder set up with all the icons pre-made. So you can download various different icons from various different places on the net. So you can do your own research there, find the icon packs. The one that I'm using is actually from Twitch Temple, and it's a free download. So all we need to do is just go set from file, go to the path that we want to use where all our icons sit, go key icons, and then just choose the icon that we want to use from there. Now, I actually created some of my own here as well. I created one for F1 2018, created one for the Fanatic application as well, so I can quickly jump to my configuration for my pedals and wheel and everything. But I mean, you don't need to be taught how to do that. That's all just basic Photoshop stuff, so I'm sure you can find other instructions online for that. But yeah, they're basically just PNG files, but you can use the Twitch Temple icon pack as a starting point for this. So what we would do is we'd just choose Streamlabs, okay, and then it would choose the icon. So then we can set up other ones for other applications as well. So what did we have? We had SimHub. So again, we just go set from file, find our SimHub icon that we created. There it is. And again, point it to the correct directory for the SimHub application. Scroll down to find the executable. There it is. Open. And then we can get rid of the text again because we don't need it. So that gives you an idea how to set up those. So what we wanted to do next is, if we jump back to our other profile, you saw I had a control box here set up as well, which was where I had all my controls. So the way we did that, and we'll jump back to the blank profile again, is we created a new folder. So again, up here, what we'll do is we'll type in folder, create folder, drag it to here. And then because it's going to be our Streamlabs folder, we'll use the Streamlabs icon again. And then we click on the icon to go into the folder itself. And then we can set up all our controls from here. So we'll go across to Streamlabs. Close off all these other ones that we're not using at the moment. Streamlabs OBS. Here we go. So the first thing we did was we set up a bunch of scenes for switching. So we'll drag scene. And we want 5 of them because we're using 5 different scenes. And then we just need to set up the control. So you actually need to have Streamlabs OBS running to do this, otherwise it won't work. So click on the first one. Select the collection that you're using for your scenes inside OBS. So you can see here I've got uplink by nerd or die, which is the one that I used as my basis point, and then I edited it from there. And then we want to select the scene that we want, so start streaming. So then we can enter a title, so say starting for this one. And then we can modify the icon as well if we wish to do so. So you can see here we've got an icon for the non-selected and selected state. So what we could then do is when it's selected, we can put in active. So it says that that's the active scene. So when it's not active, it says that's the starting scene. And then when we select it, it says that it's active. But we could also just have it say starting there or whatever you want. And then what you can do is you can assign a logo to each one of those as well. So we could go set from file. And then say we want to use these scene icons that are pre-selected here. So the one we were using was the non-selected, so off. And then we go across to the active one, set from file. Scroll down again and on. So then we do exactly the same thing again for our other scenes. So this one can be our game. So game and active. Again, nerd or die. This time we want to select our scene as the in-game layout. Perfect. And then again, set from file, and this time we want to choose scene 2. So scene 2 active and scene 2 non-active or disabled, off. So then if we jump down to our buttons here, you can see when we press 1, it selects scene 1. And when we press 2, it selects scene 2, and then so forth. We'll just go through and do exactly the same thing for the remainder as well. So the next one we want to set up is our buttons here to control various different functions within the stream itself. So again, this is pretty simple. We'll set up our record button first. So again, in our Streamlabs OBS, we go record. And we don't really, I mean, you can put a title here if you want to. We don't really need to because we know what it is. So the non-active state is record off. And then the active state is record on. Same again for our stream. We go here, non-active, stream off, and active is stream on. So for our buttons to control audio, we drag across mixer audio. And again, we select the profile, we select the source that we want to trigger. So for a microphone, we would go mic aux. And again, we just set our 2 files here for non-active and active. So scroll down. And I think we've got a microphone somewhere here. Where is it? Microphone off. And then we choose microphone on and so forth. So once you've got all of that set up and done, it will look something like this. So the team radio button is simply triggering a source. And then mute microphone is muting the microphone. Mute game is muting the desktop audio. So that is a very basic overview of how you set up the Stream Deck. And it gives you a bit of an insight as to the amount of functions that you have available there. But you can see You can set up functions for screenshots, for recording your game, for flashback recording. There's all sorts of stuff here, but I think probably the most powerful usage is these system shortcuts here that allow you to set up functions to map hotkeys. Now, one important limitation that it's important to understand here is that this isn't giving you additional buttons that you can assign to functions within applications unless the functions are predefined by the software itself here. So say, for example, if I'm using a Streamlabs OBS function, it's basically essentially a new button because I'm not mapping it to a hotkey on the keyboard. But if I'm wanting to assign hotkeys for other functions that aren't supported directly by the software, then all it's really doing is creating a shortcut to the keyboard function or a macro to the keyboard function. So say, for example, I want to create a hotkey that selects the rich fuel mix in my favorite simulator software. I can't just assign a button on the Stream Deck to that function inside the game because it's not mapped. So what I would need to do is create a hotkey and then assign that a function on the keyboard. So say Control R for rich, and then I would actually map Control R to the rich mix inside my simulator game so that every time I press this button, it would activate that function. So the important distinguishing factor here is that it's not giving you additional buttons that you can map inside the game. All it's doing is it's creating macros to keyboard functions that are already defined inside your game, if that makes sense. So taking a quick look at the device itself. Now, obviously the screen quality, as you've seen, is really good. The buttons have a nice tactile feel to them. You've got this little stand as well, which is a little bit flimsy, but does provide a lot of adjustability for a desktop. So you can see here all the various different positions that you can sit it in, as well as completely flat, obviously, as well. But yeah, look, overall, very, very impressed with the product.
Alright, so we're all set up inside as if we were streaming a game right now, just recording it and inserting it into the video. So you can see here up on the panel, we've got our button to start recording, to start streaming, and so forth is all sitting there. And our various different functions across the bottom here for the different scenes are all there as well. I can mute my audio, like... Yeah, so you couldn't hear me when I pressed that, so that all works like it's supposed to. I can mute the game audio like that as well. Gone, back again. Don't need to worry about streaming mode at the moment because obviously I'm not inside Discord. But what we'll do is I'm going to set this down beside me at the moment because I haven't mounted it properly yet and I don't want it falling off the rig as I'm driving. But we're just going to test out a couple of other little functions as well. So I'll quickly go to my game view. So we'll hit that button. There is our nice little transition in the stream. And you can see now I've got all my overlays up here. I've got my steering, my pedals, everything. The other cool little thing that we've got here as well is our team radio. So I'll hit that quickly. And that pops up. That's pretty cool. Off again. So yeah, look, I mean, basically it looks like it's going to give me control of all of this stuff. I can switch scenes and everything while I'm driving, in between sessions and that kind of thing. And because I'm able to switch in and out really quickly here, if I have a problem with one of my other apps like SimHub crashes or something like that, or my little wheel overlay stops, I can launch them all from here. I can launch the game from here as well. So I think this is going to work really well, and I'm looking forward to getting it set up on the rig, properly installed in a position where I can reach it easily without having to take my eyes off the road, or only having to take my eyes off the road for a glance. So I mean, I'm not really going to be touching it while I'm driving. It's going to be more a thing that I'll use while I'm in the rig in the middle of a session, so I can control things without having to chop and change around and stuff like that. So yeah, look, it all looks like it's going to work pretty cool. Alright guys, so look, I'm really looking forward to getting this all set up on the rig properly. I might explore some other macros as well and some other applications and things like that to see what I can set up and really get my use out of this thing day to day. I think it's such a versatile little piece of kit that I'm really looking forward to exploring, and I'm sure a lot of the things that I'll end up doing with it are things that I'm not even thinking about doing at the moment. But hopefully the video has given you a good overview of the product, a good overview of how to do the basic setup and configuration of it, and a bit of insight into some of the things that you can do with it. Now, incidentally, while we're sitting here in the rig and everything, it's a good time to mention that we do now have a Twitch streaming channel as well, so you can check out that in the link in the description below. We're going to be streaming a lot of online league races and things like that. I might also start streaming a couple of other little games and bits and pieces as well, so stick around for that. So let me know in the comments below if you would like to start seeing some sim racing streams on YouTube as well as Twitch. I'm not wanting to sort of pollute the channel at this stage and dilute it too much, so I'm sort of testing the waters at the moment with Twitch to see how it goes and see whether it's something that we want to start doing. We might even end up making a separate channel just for gaming streams and things like that, but talk about it with me in the comments below. Let me know what you think about that. But for now, make sure you like this video, subscribe, and hit the notification bell as well so you don't miss the next one. And thank you very much for watching. See you next time.